Let's try talking to, is the name Shaz? Who are we talking to at the 202 area code right now? You're on the line with Jimmy and Matt.
Hey, Jimmy. Yeah, I was hoping I'll get through because this is not a topic that is very popular, right? My name is Shaz. My name is Shashwat Shekhar, which is a bit of a tongue twister. I go by Shaz.
Okay.
I'm from India, and I've been following the U.S. politics and economics for about 25 years now. I want to understand what the fuck is going on in this country, and has it always been this way? Because like I said, I've just been following you guys, or we guys, for 25 years now. And I fail to understand America and Americans, the kind of science denial that goes on here, in spite of it being the US of A, which is given, which has been at the forefront of scientific endeavors all along my lifetime and before me. But the science denial that goes on here now, and the pure stupidity that goes on here now, is flummoxes me, completely flummoxes me. So just wanted to hear you guys' take on it.
I'm curious what part of India you're from.
I was born and brought up in Delhi, the capital.
Okay.
I studied and worked all over India before moving here.
Okay.
So you're in the United States now?
Yep. I've been in the States for about 12 years now, and been following the States for about 25 years now.
Oh, and I think are you, by the way, are you a theist or an atheist? I think we just put whatever the default was on there. Atheist or theist? Do you care to share?
I'm a fucking anti-theist.
Okay, I'll just leave it. Just leave it blank. What state are you in these days? What part of America?
What part of America? Virginia.
Okay.
Just outside of DC.
Yeah, no worries. I was trying to make sure we actually had Virginia the first time, and then you said India, so I switched it. So I'm switching it back. All right. Shaz, the reason why I asked what part of India, when you're asking like what the fuck is going on here, I do feel like most people can look to local examples from where they were, and they can kind of extrapolate from there. The reason I'm staying in America and I'm fighting for it is because the potential that America has to be great, because it's trying to do the melting pot thing, because it's trying to, obviously there are people who are doing a horrible job with all of those ideals, but we're working toward an ideal of a multicultural country that can change. I mean, the Constitution has within it that it should change with the time. We have a secular constitution. Of course, that's also been bastardized. But when I hear somebody from India being like, I'm seeing you guys there and I have no idea what's going on, it's just a different version of the caste system. And so in India, deeply rooted in Hinduism, it might not have been, it's not in all parts of India, so maybe you weren't as exposed to it, you can tell me, but the caste system there is a different way of doing, it is fundamentally religious-based methods of separationism and a feeling of being extraordinary over other people, not because of some kind of merit, not because of just because you are inherently wonderful. So when that sometimes turns into racial supremacy, right now they're kind of making their racial supremacy masked. They're inviting some more people in under this more of like Christian nationalism. But I think it's a different version of what you see in other countries. And I think that in the same way that when an American looks at the caste system and goes like, this is the most unscientifically based form of racism, ethnic separation and shit that we can't justify, it feels similarly whack as this probably feels to you.
Okay, I kind of agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
The caste system in India is, it's historical, it's religiously based, as you rightly pointed out. I wasn't talking about the Christian nationality shit that's going on here right now. I'm talking about the general derision for science and for facts that I see.
Me too.
In the electorate. And
me too.
In India, I'll tell you what, in India, there's a respect for education, there's a respect for knowledge across castes, I believe. Yes, caste system sucks, and has been used to oppress people for, millions, not millions, but whatever, for ages. But in the U.S., I understand, the segregation and the oppression, the slavery shit, and
if you think the science denialism isn't Christian nationalism, I don't know. I don't know how to. When you say I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about the science denial. So am I.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a mix because I don't see.
It doesn't play a role in science denial in India. In India, people generally respect education, generally respect science.
Except when it comes to the caste system.
In the caste, like I said, caste system is totally religiously driven. Yeah, and I mean it's been used to oppress people. Yeah, it's shit. Yeah, but
and it's scientifically incoherent. It is anti-science. The caste system.
And to be honest with you, it also plays a role in politics in India. I mean, people vote based on the cost of the candidates and all that, which is shit again. That's kind of similar to America, because here also people vote according to their religious beliefs, right? I mean, I think that there is a parallel to be drawn there. But yeah, what I was talking about is the science denial that goes on. It's not the same in India. In India, if you get an education, and fucking education is important out there. If you have an education, you are generally looked up to. You generally move up in life. You generally tend to do well. Here, there is, I mean, in the general population, the people that I speak to, the people I listen to, like the callers on your shows, I mean, the kind of denial of facts, not religious facts. I mean, I get Jesus and the Jesus lovers, but the kind of denial of facts that affect them on a day-to-day basis. The vaccine, for example. Who the fuck told them that? I mean, I have had like 4 or 5 COVID shots. I got COVID as well, but I didn't have no side effects. None of the people that I know, it's anecdotal, yes. That's not data, yes, but the data supports it, right? I mean, COVID vaccine was totally safe and probably saved millions of lives. And yet the kind of denial that goes on here and the kind of pushback that you get on it is crazy. It is not the same way in India. I mean, yeah.
What percentage of the Indian population do you think at the present denies the theory of evolution?
Minuscule.
So how long ago did you leave India?
I've been out of India for since 2008. No, okay. 2004. But I've been in the US
so you would have
for about 12 years
you would have seen parts of the rise of Indian nationalism. And I'm not trying to take the focus off of America, but I am trying to say this isn't American. This is modern. It's a part of the modern world and a rejection of progressing from a lot of places. Indian nationalism has exploded over the last couple of decades, and you're incorrect. I just looked it up. About 30% of Indians deny, not just say they don't know, deny the theory of evolution, because similarly a rise in Indian nationalism that is severely intertwined either with the caste system or the other religions that are. Stat. Yep.
Sorry, that's a surprising stat. I would not have thought 30%.
Yep. And it's so this is a world problem. The world is hopefully these are just really awful death throes of a tendency toward nationalism, which is what I was hoping years ago when we were having Andrew Seidel on the channel. And that's what these are the death throes of Christian nationalism, were things he was telling us. Well, these death throes are lasting a long time. And it seems like the Christian nationalism's coming back to life more than it is dying. But everything that you were describing, and I think Matt was going to explain, he sees more of a mix. I see it all as either explicit Christian nationalism or a sort of community, the implicit. You could see that its arms have extended into other places, and that even atheists who are accepting it are doing the work of Christian nationalists. But Matt, if you want to go ahead.
How are atheists doing the work of Christian nationalists by being opposed to science and thinking the earth is flat and not being willing to get vaccinated?
I wouldn't isolate it to just there, but they're definitely the atheists, the MAGA atheists are the ones that I'm more thinking of, and even the libertarian atheists. They are working off of propaganda that comes deep from a Christian nationalist core, and they are supportive in extending those causes. I don't think there's a version of voting for Trump or any even libertarian candidate without having been seduced by the core ideologies of Christian nationalism in America.
Who's supporting MAGA? The subject was science denial. So you don't get to just throw out the science denial that don't fit the MAGA folks. I mean, there's a ton of atheists out there who are opposed to all sorts of things. We have failed to teach skepticism and critical thinking, which we already know, but also by propping up science as if we can say, oh, your view on this is wrong and here's the science for why, while the other side is making people feel like they're victims. They're so mad that everybody who is a victim is getting support and they're not getting support. And so if they make you feel like you're a victim, like they're here to take your jobs, they're here to take your women, they're here to do all of this, that lends credence to stuff. And when you can show corruption and dishonesty, both from politicians and within, the use of science. I mean, I have former friends who were prominent atheist figures who are doing nothing and want nothing to do with Christian nationalism or Project 2025, who are batshit crazy when it comes to science issues around trans stuff and countless other things. So I'm just saying, I'm agreeing with you that of what is part of the problem. But if the whole issue is what's up with all the science denial, it is a generalized, in my view, rejection of authorities. Like you've been let down so many times by authorities. And I think the reason people see it as more prominent in the United States, whether it is or isn't, is that the United States is peopled by spoiled brat fucking idiots who haven't seen war in their lifetime that they've had to actually deal with. They haven't seen the conflict. They don't know, most of them, what actual poverty is. You can't just drive out to the edge of town and see, ramshackle assemblages of people creating a little village out of roofing tin. And so they're fundamentally disjointed from the harsh facts about reality, and they've been coddled. And now they're like, why should I help those people? It's a lack of empathy. And I don't know.
I'm still seeing the extension of, I get what you're saying. Real quick, I want to throw in, I'm still seeing the rejection as being an implicit support. And I see it from some of those same people that you're describing. Elon Musk is a great example of a person who is great on certain scientific issues and yet is almost certainly an atheist, has expressed such in the past and tries to appeal to Christians, but does a poor job of that, and has put everything behind a thing that was going to result in Project 2025 over an anti-scientific hatred of trans people. Lawrence Krauss, the way he softly celebrated while saying oh, well, this was a bad thing, but now maybe that Trump is getting reelected, this woke thing that came from me, maybe that won't happen anymore. David Silverman similarly becoming a political moron and saying we deserved Roe v. Wade and all that stuff. The people who should know the most about Christian nationalism have become their implicit allies in both underplaying and suggesting that these things could be acceptable and that there might be a silver lining over a thing that threatens us completely.
But that's not a causal connection. That's the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
If it's rooted in the same anti-scientific garbage that extends from Christian nationalist propaganda.
No, rooted in. Anti-scientific garbage is the result. Whether it's rooted in Christian nationalism or a hatred of the woke left, a hatred of this, they are unified in wanting to eliminate humanistic progressive values. that's not Christian nationalism causing Silverman to be anti-science. That's Silverman's idiocy and hatred of the fact how the Me Too group, stuff impacted him, and wanting to react to this left-leaning, empathetic world. It's politics makes strange bedfellows. That to me is just the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And if I want to take out these people who basically tried to run me out of the atheist community, yeah, I'll work with some people who share my values, even if they share them because of Christian nationalism.
Our difference may then be just where we're willing to label things, because I'm of the similar ilk of people who would go, if you're having a rally and 4 Nazis show up and you don't kick them out, you're at a Nazi rally. And so if you're on a team and the Christian nationalists show up, and not only do you not throw them out, but you elevate them, if you actually quote Matt Walsh's "What is a Woman" video as some sort of scientific source, you're at a Christian nationalist rally now.
I think part of it is, so the Reverend Barry Lynn, for example, is the former director of Americans United for Church-State Separation. I am happy to work alongside him because we both value the separation of religion and government. So I will work alongside a believer towards a goal we both share, as long as I'm convinced. But that's not me supporting Christian nationalism. It's not him supporting institutionalized atheism. And so I'm not willing to suggest that just because you are complicit with Christian nationalists, that Christian nationalism is causing this in your case, not you, but I mean, whoever we're talking about, or that you are advocating implicitly for Christian nationalist goals. It can be the case that if the house next door is on fire, the Nazi and transphobe and me can all pick up the hose. And from their perspective, they see that as this is what they're doing. The United States is falling apart. The woke left are destroying everything. We don't have any freedoms. We can't tell any jokes. And the only ones who seem to get it are these other people who I despise, but I'm going to have to work with them. That's what I see.
I assume the Reverend that you gave an example of, though, isn't Christian nationalism, because I would assume he's, in your mind, at least compatible
Correct.
with humanism. Yeah.
Well, somewhat, but yes. The point is, if you can convince people that they share a common enemy, they can come at it from 2 completely different directions and then return to being enemies afterwards. Just like Jews and Christians will fight, like cats and dogs, right up until there's a third party, and then all of a sudden they start saying, "Ooh, we're Judeo-Christian." Anyway.
Shaz, go ahead. We can pick it up.
No. Something that Matt said, the rejection of authority. I hear that. So you are becoming anti-scientific because you are rejecting authority. But at the same time, these same people who are anti-science are also pro-Trump. They are okay with him running for a 3rd term. They're okay with him becoming a fucking king here. Okay, and that is a total dichotomy. I mean, because you are protesting authority from science and from other folks, and you are cherishing and you are longing for the authority of a fucking orangutan, an orange orangutan. Is that not a dichotomy?
I am going to be honest. I was Googling something else. I think
I don't know you're saying it's a dichotomy, but a dichotomy just means 2. It's an accurate comparison.
Okay, that might not be the right term. I might be looking for the dissonance, the cognitive dissonance, because you're rebelling against authority on one hand and gunning for and cherishing and promoting an authoritarian system under Trump.
It's not a concept of authorities. It's the authorities of your past authorities or the authorities you now dislike, and then you go warm up to others. Very few people reject the concept of authority.
It's like once upon a time, I worked for Company A, and the people at Company A turned out to be incredibly shitty, and I don't want anything to do with them anymore.
Yeah, I hear you.
So when I'm rejecting their authority, when I'm rejecting their governance over my life, I might still go find some other authority, especially if I'm cowardly and don't want to be held.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I get you.
Don't care.
Though I think in this example, I work at Company A. I turned out to be incredibly shitty, so I went to a company of people who are also shitty. I'm just thinking of the case of Elon Musk. Elon Musk going from company, and then he turned out to be the piece of shit. I think we're going to move on to some other calls there, Shaz. Any last thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, thanks for talking to me. I am just a little bit worried. U.S. used to be that city on the shining city on the hill and all that dragoness stuff.
Not really. That was propaganda too.
Yeah, I understand that. I bought that propaganda, but I still believe that the U.S. has a future.
Sure.
I hope we get it. I hope we work towards that.
I hope we do too. I think that again, the reason why I think America would be the first one to pull it off. That the world is filled mostly with horrible religious ideas, terrible nationalism. But right now, we seem to be taking a wild step back and doing so with the message of our most privileged people in the world being somehow the most oppressed. This sort of upside down theory.
So you have no optimistic view to give me then. But anyways,
no
hope against. I'm just hoping for it.
I don't know that I don't die in an Ecuadorian prison or some shit. What am I going to tell you?
On the 4th of July, which is our independence. Never mind.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
You've done it like 18 times, but it's probably a delay thing, so don't worry about it. On the 4th of July, which is our Independence Day, I posted a reminder that, in my opinion, you can celebrate whatever you want for whatever reason you want, but you shouldn't be celebrating independence because we're not free. We're living under a fascist regime. Christian nationalists are taking over. And America had a good run of 249 years that either sets a record or comes close to it for some aspects. But I think there's good reason to think that it is, in one way or another, over.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine the United States of America in its current. I don't know. I think some kind of breakup, which the
MTG thing, the divorce, the national divorce. That can happen?
No, not the way she would do it, because right now that would fuck over so many people. There are people who live in California will say, like, what if we just let all of this go to Canada? And it'd be like, well, then the right wing element that infects a lot of those places would start fucking up Canada, and they also have a rise of nationalism happening in their country, so it would be safer for a little while. But then people in Colorado are like, cool, so we're right wing on all sides, but are arguably the best state in the country. And we're just fucked because of our landlock. You guys seem to understand when you put up your maps of land doesn't vote, but you're going to fuck us over land. That divorce stuff doesn't work, but things in their current form, I don't know how not to mention cities like our own of Austin. People from Austin they deserve to be in the shitty MTG country after that divorce happens? I don't think so. Anyway, Shaz, thanks for calling.
Take care, guys. Thank you for talking to me.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Take care. Yeah, we get a lot of calls about this recently, and it's extra frustrating for me because I can't count how many Wednesdays I've opened the show by basically saying, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why we're anti-science, why we are sucking up to fascists, why we are in direct opposition to empathy and compassion and reason. Everything I know about what ought to change minds, which has been repeatedly confirmed by experts in epistemology and psychology, doesn't seem to be working. It seems like the only thing that is consistently working is feelings-based propaganda. Mm-hmm. And it's why one of my favorite calls from any show over the last couple months was from a person in Canada who was basically saying, the right makes these people feel like they're victims, even though they're not, and that they will be taken care of by virtue of not having their resources continually diverted to somebody who isn't them. And that's appealing if you buy into, hey, they're coming for your jobs, they're coming for your kids, what they're doing is dangerous. Meanwhile, for example, and I don't have to just talk about trans issues, but it's one of the most obvious. They represent less than 1% of the population. And yet, what percentage of all of our time is taken up talking about all of the time and money being spent to attempt to legislate issues that really should be a matter, most of them, of privacy between an individual and their medical professionals? I'm done. I'm not done, but I don't get it.
Hey, if you liked that clip, you'd love the whole thing. Hit like, subscribe,
Yes.
leave a comment, patreon.com/calltheline. That one sucked. Use it.